All right, all right. Good morning, good morning. It is 6:31. It is December 5th. My name is Scott Ruther. I am the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club, where we try and figure out how to make money every single day, put ourselves in a position to think clearly, execute with confidence, get prepared. So this way, when things are moving, you can move alongside and you don't get caught. I feel like a lot of traders got caught yesterday, which, I wasn't here, or I was sitting at my desk on Friday. I was in Florida running a race, so, I was pretty flattish. But I could see how you would have. I saw a bunch of things put in a bottom tail reversal. A few things had, nice breakout candles. Then yesterday, a bit of a leg sweep. It's never fun getting a leg sweep. But anyway, what you got to do is pick yourself back up and get yourself brushed off and, figure out how to approach the next day and do it responsibly in a way you can handle the risk. If you look here at the chart of the SPYs, it's still very choppy, going sideways. I don't think this candle really existed, or this wick. It didn't get above there. Kind of closed well. It looked like we were going to take out 459.44. And then yesterday they just opened it lower, purged out a lot, and then did a whole lot of nothing. Bottom line is, it's still above the 8-day moving average, but it is getting testy. Sometimes you play with it a few times and then break it. I'm not saying we're going to break it, but at this point, I'm still very low risk because the oscillator still went out of plus 52, which is overbought. The strength in the small caps and the bios and some of those are keeping that overbought, while tech has been in a little bit of a corrective phase. So anyway, 454.89. Okay, yesterday's low is, which I like to write down, is 454.34. So we're above that. We're above last, Thursday's low. Chances, question is, will this break, and are we going to see it move down towards, the 21 day? You can still hold the 21 day and be somewhat of a strong market and still, have the right sequence for higher prices through New Year's. But if you're too long and you're too active in this time period, it could hurt while that happens. Anyway, if you look at the Qs, Qs is leading us lower. The Qs broke below the 8-day. So it's like people say, hey, well, if the Qs could break below the 8-day, why can't the SPYs? And the Qs, 380, 381. Yesterday kind of touched the 21-day, went to 382.66, which we're above. And the question is, do they want to fill this gap? Do the Qs want to see the 50-day? And if that were the case, then you'd probably see the SPYs see the 21-day. And then the SPYs would probably be showing relative strength to the Qs. But we'll see. It's only December 5th. It's only Tuesday. Jobs report is Friday. You still have a bunch of week and change to the next CPI and to the FOMC. So market could shake things up a bit. By the way, China's at like 3-4 year lows. No one's really paying attention to that. Nobody really cares. It's kind of disconnected. I think they're going through their 2007, 2008 real estate problem the way we did when too many people owned way too many homes that shouldn't have, and whatever. But bottom line is, we're not as correlated as we used to be there. But so we'll see what happens here. It should be interesting. Small caps gave you another nice day on top of this breakout day. You got to like when that happens. When you get a strong breakout day above the consolidation, you always want a little follow through. Hopefully you sold most into that. I had a bunch of different IWM option strategies on, and bottom line is I'm capped out on one of the option strategies and when I sold, and now we'll see what's next. XBI was really good. So before leaving, the XBI and the IWM were really my focus longs, where risk was premium paid indice wise, and then SPYs I was short a little premium, and then Qs I was staying away from because I wasn't sure. But anyway, so now the question is, it's hard. Like when you're going through this like little market discovery phase and you're trying to figure out if you sold strength and you had good execution getting out of longs, and you think you have the luxury. By the way, this is a good song. Anyway, so you think just because you sold it well, you have the luxury of buying a dip, but then when the dip is choppy and hard to find, it makes it tricky. So yesterday I tried buying a dip in Microsoft and Meta, and it wasn't easy. It used to be like a lot of these stocks would like bottom in the first 15 to 30 minutes and then reverse. Now it's like they're putting a bottom in at like 10:50 or 11:10. I would think out of all the the Mag 7 names, they all put in a low at different times. They didn't even bottom at the same time. It's just so the time frame continuity is just a little off, but that's what the computer's trying to mess with everybody. So with that being said, if you remember, I posted yesterday, 7 days ago when Meta broke the 8-day, I'm like, guys, if Meta led this market higher and it can't hold the 8-day, be a little careful. That means maybe Netflix comes in, Microsoft, this, that. Even yesterday, I'm like, don't get a false sense of security with Apple, even though it shows relative strength. Maybe it's because first 2 days of the month, Apple gets extra flows with the buyback, so that's what kept me away from it. And now we're gonna, that's in market discovery. So let's just blow through these a little bit here. So Meta, it looks like a bottom tail. It wasn't easy. I actually made money here. This one gave you at least a relative strength clue to buy a dip, and I sold mine. I think I sold my Meta into here. Didn't quite hold it to there. I bought options into this day. So my options wound up losing money, but it is what it is. So PS 313.36. Right now, Meta's down $3. It's in no man's land. What do I mean? Well, I mean if you wanted to buy it versus a low, it's $3 away. It doesn't mean it has to get there, but this is worth a look today. But again, below the 8-day, below the 21-day, and then they mess with the 50-day. So if Meta could do that, you don't want to get caught buying a leader back too early because you sold it well. So we'll see what Microsoft does today. Microsoft also played with this 366 prior high, put a low in at 362.91. It had to come in, all the way into what time did it come into? That was it was such a weird, this market sometimes is just. So if you look here yesterday, so you go to the intraday, Microsoft put its low in at 10:50. Anyway, so it just decided at 10:50. After being down, then it's going to trend all the way up through the day. Not 9:45, not 10:15, not a 5-minute low, 15-minute low, 30-minute low, 10:50. Let's just do that. And I could go through the other charts. I did it in the recap yesterday. It was kind of interesting. Everything did it at different times. So for today, we'll see what happens with Microsoft. It's only down $1.40. So the question is Microsoft going to have to retest this area, or is it going to put another little bottom tail in here? So I will look at Microsoft and Meta for opportunities. I'll probably avoid Apple. Apple, still it's above the 21-day, below the 8-day, broke above this upper flag. There's some different types of news out of Foxconn. Some saying November was a good month. Then you have other talk about how China is 3-4 year lows, and they're going to restrict more exports and this and that. I don't know. Let's see what Apple's doing this morning. Yeah, it's down to 68 cents. Just choppy. Tesla is gross. Again, no real sustained moves. When it looks the worst, it's been viable. When it looks the best, it's been sellable, and that's not what a momentum trader likes to trade. Yeah, we caught a red dog reversal here, which gave you a nice move, and another one there. But then when it looked like it was ready to start to have some continuity and momentum, and it failed. So at this point, I really don't have much interest here. It'll be interesting though to see kind of break 231-ish, and if you're a good short, which as a trader, you need to be good at everything, but sometimes you're better at other things. I'm much better at holding 10 to 15 longs versus 10 to 15 shorts. I'm looking if I could even just short a few things. But anyway, Tesla's down 245. Usually when it's red, it likes to go red to green. But 233, this 231 is a key spot. If we were to break this, chances are definitely don't need to be long if you're active. And if you're looking for a good short entry, it's got to really get below and stay below. I'm not going to be looking to press it there, but I'm going to watch it. If that were to break, sentiment-wise, probably wouldn't be great. But it's not really influencing all of tech. It's in its own little world right now. So, but it's worth watching. Netflix broke the upper level. You know, how do you get out of things? Well, if you were riding Netflix because it was above the 8-day moving average this whole time, you should get out of it right here around 475. Okay, that was last Thursday. You know, and just like that goes from below the 8-day to below the 21-day, and then who knows? Maybe it wants to get down towards the 50-day, which is all the way down there. I don't like to trade Netflix because, you know, it trades by appointment, meaning, you know, sometimes it's strong for an hour and then weak for an hour and this and that. It's hard to really read the relative strength portion of it, but whatever. I'm going to avoid it. I'm going to probably look at Microsoft and Meta today for opportunities. And then I'm also going to look at NVIDIA. You know, NVIDIA, you know, trying to hold, actually it's below the 50-day, but this is the EMA. Some people is simple. So we'll see when NVIDIA wants to do today. It's down another 470. It's just, it's a blah, right? This too, if you want to look at like when NVIDIA put its low in yesterday, it's just really funny, you know. So here, go to NVIDIA. So NVIDIA put its low in yesterday at, this put the low in at, this one was 1035. It decided to put its low in. And then made a higher low, I guess, you know, at around whatever this was. This was 1110. Anyway, not easy. Wasn't easy trading yesterday. But again, once this loose wide day happened, you got to know, okay, this is not the same NVIDIA we had when it was in an active sequence leading tech to the upside. And then another thing was when it broke there, you know, it stayed below that end of the channel here, right? It broke this spot, stayed in the lower quadrant, created this H cell setup. Remember I was talking to you how important 476 was? Well, it broke 476, and now here you are. So, you know, levels matter now. If it's playing with this 450, so it's only, this is only 30 cents away from yesterday's low. I think it's because there's, again, more chip export news and AI and blah, blah, blah. So another day probably to do a lot less. I didn't do a whole lot yesterday, you know. I hate, you know, I feel bad for the guys that were so excited about gold. You know, it wasn't like, it was kind of extended, but it looked as if you finally had a really nice breakout above, you know, the highs of May, and for it to just trap longs from that day like it did yesterday, it's kind of rude. But gold, you know, has a lot of things that influence. A lot of countries influence gold, currencies influence gold, you know, whatever. I'm just saying, it just, that kind of sucks. You know, I feel bad when that happens to, you know, traders. I hate to have when traders have misdirection traps. Misdirection traps are just not fun. Anyway, doesn't mean the move in gold is over. It just means that, you know, if you were super long because it finally got above an area, and it wasn't even like it was so overbought, it was, you know, just like a bull flag breakout continuation. Now it's, you know, what is it doing here? What's gold doing this morning? You know, it's down 20 cents, 187.65. So it's just in here. So it's going to need some time to rebuild. What am I looking to buy today? As I said before, I'm going to look at Microsoft and Meta. I'm not going to be so early. I'm going to see, do the Qs and the SPYs hold yesterday's lows, or do we continue to kind of retrace, work off the overbought condition ahead of the jobs report Friday? I do think this, you know, this path is interesting. This was probably one of my best trades when I was from the road, because I had $20 calls into earnings, and earnings were awesome. And I sold the calls for over $3. I bought them for 80 cents. And, you know, now you have a pro earnings gap. If it's down a little bit, I'll buy a little bit and maybe gets above this 25.47 for some decent action. I bought some options for next week there. So that could be something. You go to the weekly chart here, you know, and looks as if, you know, gets above this. This was as high as 70 or so. This was 2021, like other things. So anyway, so that's something I'm going to look at today. You know, some of the names, like Snow looks pretty good, right? Snow looks better than, or different than some of the Mag 7 where you had a big gap up going sideways. Maybe it could be long versus 180, gets above 192.66. That can continue if you know, this sector wants to continue. Just if all of a sudden we really start selling off, all these things are going to sell off. But we'll, you know, we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. What else? Somebody was looking at Qualcomm. Let's see. I haven't really looked at this name in a while here. Let's see. Let's get this out of the way. What does Qualcomm look like? Qualcomm's got a little upper bull flag type pattern here, I guess you could say, right? It's come a decent long way. Had a bit of a gap and go here where, you know, it held it, trended, hit some resistance. What was this? This is 132-ish. So you could put this here. This is 125.67. This is how I go about my work, you know. I know it's not like I have AI working for me or a big think tank of 1,000 traders. I look at levels and I do points of reference, and you know. So here, in order to break out above this, what does it have to do? It has to hold 125. So I would say some people are long verse 125, right? And then this high here is 130.60, right? So just follow my logic, right? It's not so sophisticated. I try not to do it so sophisticated. But like right now, if in order for Qualcomm to get to this high here that was put in over July of 132, what does it have to get above and stay above? It's not rocket science. It's got to get above and stay above 130.60. Gets above 130.60, then you have room to 132. In order to get to, you know, 139, not saying it's going to, I'm just saying this is the thought process, okay, right? In order to get to 139, what does it have to do? It's got to get above and stay above 130.60, 132, and then there's 139. And in order for it to be even in the game for that, it's got to hold 125.67, and if you're really tight, it's got to hold above 128. So every single day I go about this, and I do this with 40 different charts and come up with, you know, active strategies to approach it. You know, and there's lots of different ways to do it. Some people say, hey, you know, I'm going to be long 500 Qualcomm versus 128, or actually 1,000 versus 128. Where first of all was Qualcomm this morning? It's 128.80. So as long as it holds 128, I'll be in 1,000 shares. If it were to break 128, it's still fine up to 125, but I want to sell 500. I don't want to sit in 1,000 all the way there. But then if I have 1,000, all of a sudden it gets above 130.60, I want to add another 1,000 because now it's in motion. Now you have 2,000, okay? And then on the way to 132, maybe you net a little bit of money into 131 and change. Now you're down to 1,500. You just made money on your ad, and you're up on what you were holding. Then all of a sudden it gets through 132, and there's a big candle, and there's lots of volume. You're buying through 132, then you're selling some at 133, and then you're still long from, you know, 129, and you just made cash flow on 2 pivot buys, and you're still in it, playing that active sequence. It's a little bit of trading 101, and I do trade for a living. Where's my iced coffee? Cheers. That's what I do. Okay, I don't just play trader on TV, even though I'm Fox Business twice a month going over, you know, what's the key to the tape. I was on SiriusXM yesterday, and I'm coming up with my 2024 report. I've been doing it for a decade. So many times people are like, Red Dog, you should put all your buying power into your into your report. You'll do so much better. I'm like, but if I did that, what do I do all day? I got to stay home. I can't just look at 4 walls. I got to trade. But anyway, hopefully I could trade, use my own ideas and execute on them and have swings and do a lot of things. But that's just a joke anyway. All right, so obviously I don't have that much to talk about if I'm giving you guys a lesson in how to use a tier system trading Qualcomm if that's the case. And we'll see how it goes. Once again, you know, the SPYs are down $1.85. We'll see what happens today. Do we just hold here and, you know, retrace and work off the condition, or does it get below, you know, just say this little ascending channel here, shake the trade, see a bigger pullback towards 448, which then would probably mean the Qs aren't holding the 21-day, and they're at least filling that gap. But we'll see. You know, first it's got, you know, we have time between now and then. All right, guys, 6:50. I have a lot to do today. It's December 5th. Thanks for tuning in. I wish I had more for you. But again, when you're in this overbought market, a little extended, some things are testing the 8-day and breaking it. Some things are already at the 50-day, and you're trying to figure out how to, you know, responsibly measure your risk and trade things for cash flow, or get into a swing active sequence. Sometimes you need more market discovery versus not. Good luck today, and thanks for tuning in. We got a long week ahead. I'm going to be around all Christmas. I'm not going anywhere. Okay, I just did my race. I had a few trips, and you know, we're in the saddle. You know, high school sports, they don't let you leave for Christmas or for spring break. So you got me. Later, guys.